What is up, football fans? I'm Danny Austin. This is the Live from the 55 podcast. We are recording from our Montreal, Calgary, Alberta studios. We had a lot of CFL talk to do, but before we do, look, I know this is a CFL podcast, but it is also a Calgary-based podcast, and the truth is my heart is heavy today. We received some awful news in the Calgary sporting community about Flames assistant GM, longtime hero of mine, Chris Snow, and I just didn't feel like I could really go forward here without just really quickly just offering my thoughts and prayers up there for Chris, for Kelsey, for the whole family there. They've been such an inspiration as Chris has fought with ALS over the last 4 years, and it was just devastating, obviously, to hear about what happened yesterday. He is unresponsive, and I don't know. It's just sort of cast a pall over the day. It's tough to think about other things when someone you have so much time, and respect for, and admiration for is really struggling. And that family has just, they have made such a difference to so many people. And I just wanted to quickly, before we go any further, it's going to be an awkward transition out of this, but I'm not doing a Calgary sports podcast or sports podcast that records in Calgary without just acknowledging and taking a moment to think about Chris and Kelsey and the rest of the family. So with that, let's move on. Let's start talking about the CFL, because big week in the CFL. We got what should be, I'm hoping, a fun podcast. We got Louie out of Hamilton. He'll be popping on here. Had him on earlier in the year, but obviously Hamilton, interesting team right now, fighting for that third spot in the East. Made some moves today, bringing in Darrell Walker, bringing in Jamal Davis. I think Scott Milanovich has made a huge difference there. Anyways, Lou's going to come in. They're playing the Stamps. It's crazy. If you'd asked me 4 months ago, this would all have been about Bo Levi Mitchell, his return to the Ticats against the Stamps. He obviously is a bit of a legend here. It's not what we're talking about right now. A bit of a weird game there, but we're going to have Shawn Lemon on. We got a little surprise for Shawn Lemon. Hopefully have a couple of his teammates popping in to congratulate him on what I assume will be this week. But if it's not, it'll be the next couple of weeks, getting to 100 sacks. We talked a lot about Shawn Lemon on Monday's pod, and we're going to hopefully have Shawn Lemon on and, hopefully have a little fun. Just a short little segment at the end there. As I said, I wanted to highlight his accomplishments, and, I think that as a league, we got to do a better job when people reach these milestones of really making a big deal about it. And Shawn Lemon's one of my favorite people around the CFL. So we're going to have some fun there. And then, the plan, let's be totally honest here, was to come in and go as hard as possible in this intro on the Argos and Bombers. I've said that that's the game of the season. I think I've been saying that since about week 3, if not earlier. This is a game that a lot of us had circled on our calendars. Busby and I have talked a million times. This is the one, top team in the East, top team in the West. Grey Cup rematch, the whole thing just felt like a blockbuster, and now it's not. I think a lot of people have been pretty disappointed by the news this week. The Argos, I apologize, have decided to sit Chad Kelly. He will not be in at quarterback, at least for the start of the game. And the Argos are instead going to be rolling with Cameron Dukes. We saw him here in Calgary. Nothing against Cameron Dukes, but he's not Chad Kelly, and this sort of does take away a little bit of the shine from what was such a huge game. Still going to be a sellout in Winnipeg. I'm sure they're going to have a great time, but we all understand the reasons the Argos would do this, and we can acknowledge those while also acknowledging that we're disappointed. They're 12-1. They're the best team in the CFL by far, and they're going to be facing a team that, if we're being totally honest, is probably their most likely opponent should they get to the Grey Cup. So you don't want to show your cards. You don't want to put Chad Kelly at risk. You don't want to give the Bombers even the slightest bit of an advantage in case you are facing them at the end of November. And I get all that. So, I understand it, and I'm not going to come on here and criticize Ryan Dinwiddie or anyone in Toronto, for doing the best thing for their team. They earn that right. That's what happens when you win 12 of 13 games. You get to rest guys. They don't have any bye weeks over the sort of the last really couple months of the season. So, just no shade. No shade. You can do what you got to do. Rest Chad Kelly. It's probably the right call for the team long term, but man, it sucks. It sucks for the reasons that we all know it sucks. I just wanted to see how the Bombers matched up with the Argos. I wanted to see the two best teams of the league going head to head, putting it all out there on the field. Back to, it's kind of why we cover sports and love sports, right? And I think back to when I was an MMA reporter in my previous life. I mean, I'm not a fight guy. The least violent person you'll ever meet. Pretty sure everyone could beat me up if they really tried. But there's nothing that compares to that feeling of sort of like it's the heavyweight championship of the world and it's the two best in the business. We finally get to see them walk down the tunnel. You have that anticipation and they're going to lock themselves in the cage and go at it. It's such an exciting sort of feeling, and you get nervous and you get excited. You get all those feelings. And that's how I was feeling about this Bombers Argos game. I was like, finally, we get to see these two teams go at it. And I just wanted that for the CFL. I wanted it to be the thing that we were talking about. And I don't know. I look down south and I see the excitement down in Eugene for that Oregon-Colorado game. Finally getting to see how Colorado matches up with one of the top programs in the States. About how excited I'm already feeling about the Bills and the Dolphins, Tua and Josh Allen going at it this weekend. And, those are the games. That's what we live for. It's the fun thing that football delivers. You only get one game a week. So the big ones are really big. And this one between the Bombers and the Argos was going to be really big. And yeah, that's what it comes down to. I'm just disappointed that it's not. I was excited. We were all excited. I will say, though, we're only a week away. The Bombers' next game is in Vancouver against the Lions, which is going to have everything on the line for the West Division. So I can sit here and complain. I can sit here and feel sorry for myself. But the reality is we're only a week away from the next big blockbuster game. And I got a feeling that neither the Lions or Bombers are going to be resting anybody because they're going to be trying to secure that West Division title. So, there's still stuff to look forward to. It's not all doom and gloom here on Live from the 55 or on the CFL. It's too bad that game's not going to be a blockbuster, but we got more coming. And, the rest of the weekend's sort of fun. I think that the Lions, expect the Lions at home to win that one, but the Riders could sure use it. Montreal, Ottawa. Montreal's coming off a big win over Calgary. Ottawa's coming off a big win last weekend as well. Then you got Calgary, Hamilton, which we're going to talk about with Louie. So it's a good slate. Look, they're all big games at this time of the year. It's end of September, and there's the playoff races are on. Every team is fighting for their lives. There's so much negativity around Calgary right now. I think fans in Regina are beginning to get pretty stressed out. So we got lots to look forward to. There's teams that can sort of stop the bleeding. There are teams that can carry the momentum forward. It's too bad that Argos Bombers game for like the zillionth time in this intro. It's too bad that that's not what we thought it was going to be. But hey, count your blessings, right? And especially on a day like today, hug the people you love. Be grateful for the good things. So, all right, let's get to Louie. We're going to get to Shawn Lemon after that real quick. Thanks to our sponsors at Mug Pubs, Fraser, and Fig. Thank you for listening. Let's go. Guys, let's say you're having a party. Let's say you're having a picnic. Let's say you're having any occasion. Got to talk to you about Fraser and Fig because I love these guys. Here in Martin Loop, a couple storefronts down from our studio here. Fraser and Fig, man. These guys do these delicious elevated cheese and charcuterie boxes. They're made with all these fresh artisanal ingredients, on-demand grazing, pick up, delivery. You got it. Just let them know what you want. They will get it to you. Honestly, I'm such a big fan. I had a picnic a little while ago. I brought one of their curated boxes and it was a huge hit. I looked great. People loved it. We're hungry. They weren't hungry anymore. These ready-to-go boxes, they got them in 4 sizes. All their boxes come with meat, cheese, dried fruit, fresh fruit, nuts, olives, pickles, and carrots. Their selections vary from month to month. Choices are always new. Just because they've had one doesn't mean you've had them all. I love Fraser and Fig. I love having them as a sponsor. They're the best. Make sure you check them out. Tell them Live from the 55 sent you. All right. Louie, buddy. Good to have you back, man. How you been? How was the summer?
The summer was great. It's an honor to be back on the show. Like I said, anytime I can return the favor of the hundreds of times that you joined me on my shows, I'm happy to jump at the opportunity. Happy to be back. Summer was good. Flew by too fast. I started a new thing at work at CHCH. We launched our CHCH podcast, which is brand new. And so for the second time in about 3 years, I helped launch a podcast network, which is apparently my thing now, I guess. So that's. I mean, there's worse things to be in, right? You see Dan Le Batard's get all these deals. But
what's that podcast called? Let's give it a.
So we have a couple. So CHCH Podcasts. It's a brand new channel that we launched. Just a podcast network. So we have one now called Newsmakers, in which I sit down with just somebody from the community, talk about the issues of the day. And then we have our Trending Now podcast, which is based on our weekly show, which is Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern on CHCH. It's called Trending Now, and it's just a recap of the week. So it's a lot of fun. I joke that it was, I fought so long to get onto television in my career. I was a radio guy for so long. And then I get to be on TV, and then within a year, they're like, "Hey, why don't you do podcasts?" So it's hard not to take that one personally. Apparently, that's all the viewers could take. But no, it's a long summer trying to put it all together. The Ticats giving me that emotional roller coaster. The Blue Jays doing the same thing. So it's been a summer that's gone by too quickly for sure.
I will at the end ask you about your Bills. But
sure.
We got to stick with CFL. People will be.
That's okay.
That's okay. You said it, man. Like a roller coaster for the Ticats. Like I have no idea what this team is. Like I have less idea now. I feel like I've been saying that all season, but it also does. So I guess here's my lead question.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying like, look at the difference Scott Milanovich has made. Is that like in Hamilton generally the consensus? Like, okay, wow, what an addition this guy has been.
I think so. I think, there's, Joel Figueroa's injury up and down. That offensive line showed a lot of consistency week in, week out. You got Jordan Murray back, who was a huge part of the team on their route to the 2021, Grey Cup final, at least. Getting him back was huge. And then once again, Joel Figueroa goes down with an injury. So, we've talked about it, I'm sure, how important it is for an offensive line or for a team's success. How it comes down to the trenches and offensive line, defensive line, and for the Cats, that hasn't been a spot of consistency for them. I mean, it has in some spots. Revenberg, one of the most consistent players in the CFL, and one of those guys who will likely, I would hope, makes a case for a Hall of Fame career.
I think so.
Just because he's in there every day. I think he's only missed one game because of injury in his entire career. He's the leader on that offensive line. And you still got guys like Chris Van Zyl hanging around who are, giving great advice. And I know Chris is fighting tooth and nail to get his way back into the lineup to be healthy to be out there with his teammates. But back to your point, I mean, the consistency in the offensive line kind of fell out. And I want to get to something you said, Danny, a couple of weeks ago. Some of you tweeted out. Maybe I misread the tweet. But there's something about this Argos team, man. The only 2 losses in their last 5 games both come against the Toronto Argonauts. And watching them in person at the Labor Day Classic, watching the game a couple of weeks ago, or last week, excuse me, the Argos are just a very, very good football team. So I'm not making excuses for the Ticats, but there was that momentum. It's like, okay, they've won a few games. Taylor Powell's looking better. They beat Winnipeg at home. And then they go into Toronto and, I mean, they didn't really put up a fight. It was a game that Toronto really had. But, Danny, I think you might be right. This Toronto Argonauts team might be one of the most talented teams I think at least I've seen in a very long time. And I think it's the coaching, the pieces that they have there, the consistency from last year to this year, the way they go about their business. They know what it takes to win because they've won. And they're repeating a lot of the same things we saw them do last year. I think the Ticats are a better football team than they were under Tommy Condell. That's no offense to Tommy Condell whatsoever. He is a great offensive mind. He will do whatever, there's going to be a ton of teams, CFL otherwise, asking about his services come the offseason. But it is a different team. Taylor Powell's getting more consistent. It's just hard, to take those 2 steps forward and then that 1 step back against the Argos because – again, it's that tweet that you sent out, Danny, that really is stuck in my head the last few weeks. It's just how good is this Toronto Argonauts team? They're resting players, week 16, week 17. They have the division locked up. They're going to host a playoff game. And, I think it's going to be everything in the East's power to make sure that they're not playing at Tim Hortons Field come November 17th. But the way they've looked and the way they've been coached and everything is pointing in that direction, I wouldn't even bet against them going up against Winnipeg. I know Winnipeg still has a lot to play for, but I don't know. They're a good football team, and I don't think, the Ticats are the second best team in the East. I don't think that's too much of a hot take. I think they are, but the fact is the Toronto Argonauts are way up here, and the Ticats are not quite at that level right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that one way or another, I mean, we know the East semifinal is going to be Hamilton and Montreal. Like, there's no intrigue there. if anyone wants to tell me like, oh, well, maybe if the Stamps win, but like, that's like, it's not even a possibility. So it's all just about whether that game is in Montreal or in Hamilton. But like, it's fascinating because if like, the Ticats are a team that to me, they get hot in the back half of the year. Like that's just been their identity for the last little while. And there were some like low points this season where I had some pretty major questions about them, but I don't really have those questions. As you said, if you lose to the Argos, every team has lost to the Argos except when Chad Kelly got hurt against the Stamps. Like that is the only game they have lost. You are right. They are the benchmark right now. And I still think that like the way I even talk about the CFL is the Bombers as sort of the team that I'm most scared of, but that's not true anymore. If Chad Kelly was playing in Winnipeg, I would be picking the Argos to win. But if you're the Ticats, I mean, you have that advantage where if you can somehow get into second, which is not out of the question at all. I mean, you're taking buses, you're not flying. At least the East playoffs would not be impossible.
Well, and the Ticats, they show up in Toronto in playoff games. You go back a couple of years in that game, and that sent them to the Grey Cup in 2021. I mean, Ticats fans travel well. This Saturday, 15,000. I guess I always go back to that the crowd in Toronto and the impact of having the best team in the CFL and the biggest market, but still getting 15,000. I know Mike Hogan is working his butt off to get butts in the seats there. And, I give them all the credit. I give them all the credit in the world for the type of fans they're reaching out to, new Canadians, big groups, different parts of the city. But, you and I probably exchanged text messages. Like, do we owe Dave Naylor an apology about, what he said about Chad Kelly going into the year? But, if Chad Kelly can't put butts in the seats, if a defending Grey Cup champion can't, and I get this is a little tangent I'm getting off on here about, just CFL in Toronto being
the
so
whole
close.
idea of this podcast is just talk about whatever you want.
I mean, but and that's what I mean. Like, it's a little tangent where it's like we're sitting here praising Toronto and just what a good team they are, and just how entertaining they are, and how much fun they are to watch, and just how good they are. But at the same time, like as somebody who loves this league and wants to see it succeed, the number one thing people are talking about, maybe rightfully, wrongfully so, is Carrie Underwood this week, right? As good as the Argos are, Carrie Underwood's going to play the Grey Cup Festival, so that's a big deal. I just wish more people in this part of the country, specifically, where I am in the GTHA, we're more on board with the bandwagon there for that team in the double blue, because it's we all want this league to succeed. Anyone who says otherwise, even its league's harshest critics, and exactly what I'm talking about, good friend of both of ours, like Arash isn't rooting for the team to lose, isn't rooting for the league to lose. Nope. Yet, fans assume that's what it is. We all want the league to be successful. If you can't capitalize on the best team in the biggest market, the defending Grey Cup champions, we need to look at some changes in some aspect to find out what's going wrong, right? It's a case study of like, okay, what's going wrong? There's enough business school students, there's enough SBMA students across the country who can look into the Grey Cup, look into CFL and think, okay, what's going wrong? Because seriously, that's the biggest thing that's bothering me right now.
Well, and it's why I sent out that tweet about the Argos, though, because again, they do have, and it's not going to happen because they are going to rest players and they're going to drop one or two of these games over the next couple weeks, which is that's what happens when you're 12-1. You earn the right to not play your best players. I have no criticism, but it sometimes bugs me that there's not that conversation about the history. We're oh, the history is what makes this league matter. The history is, well, if the Argos are chasing the record for all-time best regular season record, that's all we should be talking about. That's all the national conversation in terms of this league should be about them doing that. It's why I've got, knock on wood, Shawn Lemon coming on after you, because Shawn Lemon's about to get 100 sacks. And I think it's important. And we have to talk about the history. And I understand that, we want to give as much as possible equal time to all 9 teams. But when one team is so far in a way the best, and whatever people want to say, the Bombers have lost 4 games. We can't talk about them. Yes, they're 1-2 and maybe 1 and 2A and 2B with the Lions, but there is only one best team in the league this year. There was a while where if you were in the West, it just, 2016 to 18, you just had a couple losses on your schedule because you had to play the Stampeders. And then it sort of became you had a couple losses on your schedule because you played the Bombers, and now if you're in the East, you have a couple losses because you played the Argos, and it's actually like it's made the East more interesting because like Montreal and Hamilton, like I don't know if it's getting talked about out East. I don't know what those media markets are doing, but like they are right on top of each other.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I think that because the expectations, we talked about, we started this conversation, obviously talking about the Ticats. The expectations were so high. You trade for Bo Levi Mitchell in Grey Cup week, mind you, right? Like day one of Grey Cup week, you're a team that's not playing in it, but you're going to make a huge splash by acquiring the rights to Bo Levi Mitchell. Then Bo goes on, TSN says, I'm not making a decision before. So now you have to put that full court press, and I'm sure it was a negotiation tactic on Bo's part. Why wouldn't it be? Then you have to put the full court press on. You're showing him the city. You're bringing him to houses that he might like. You're talking to him about the community. You're selling him on the city. You're selling him on that 3-year deal. So now you signed him. So expectations were always going to be sky high. They're hosting the Grey Cup. That's been on the calendar for years, right? And then when the start of the season didn't match the expectations, which wrongfully or rightfully, I think I've learned that consistency year in, year out is so important in this league, man. Like having guys who know the system, who know the coaches, and going into it, maybe I should have been more cautious that, hey, there's a lot of new pieces on this Ticats team. And I remember a few weeks in asking that question to the guys, being like, how is it gelling? Like, what is it like building chemistry? Because there were so many new faces on defense. Bo Levi running the offense, and there weren't those long-term guys. Yeah, other than Jameer.
There's no one I love. Yeah, there's no one I respect more than Jameer Thurman in the league, but he's having to step into a new system. I mean, we've seen how good he is, but that's never going to be a perfect transition.
No, and again, the expectations were set so high, and then Bo goes down, and then Matt Schultz goes down, and now who is Taylor Powell? And I give Taylor Powell a lot of praise. I think he's looked much better every game in and game out. I think last week again, with the asterisk that it was against the Argonauts, and that asterisk being the Argonauts are so good. I think maybe he took a little bit of a regression. I saw people calling for Matt Schultz. But I really like Taylor Powell. He's a young kid. This is a guy who wasn't expected to take a single snap, right? Best case scenario, he doesn't play this season. And now he's going out there, he's scrambling, he's making things happen with his legs, and he's learning the game week in and week out. And I think that's really important when it comes to building the success of this league.
And doing it behind, as you mentioned, an offensive line that's got some injuries, right?
Yeah,
only
absolutely.
Making it more difficult. Yeah.
Absolutely. A change in coordinator, right? I mean, Tommy Condell, the way players talked about Tommy Condell, before they agreed to part ways, him and the team, Taylor Powell was one of them. I remember asking Taylor after one of his first starts or one of his first appearances, what he got out of Tommy. And he almost got emotional talking about just the kind of coach Tommy was. Now you're bringing in Scott Milanovich. Scott Milanovich hadn't been around all season. He was on the coaching staff, but we're talking about somebody who was coaching from Florida, basically, right? So now you got a new coach, a new play system, the changes on offensive line, and he's handled himself really well. He's going to be one of those players I'm going to be excited to watch in the next few years. How that works with Bo Levi's 2 years and 500,000, 750,000 remaining on his contract.
It's going to be one of the big stories that we watch this offseason. You and I both probably the same character. I'd love to see Bo Levi back this season. I would love to see him hit the field. The CFL is a better league when guys like that are out there and healthy and playing at their best. But Taylor Powell is one of those players that I'm really excited to watch. He seems to be building chemistry with Tim White. Tim White's another one of those players. I think I would classify him as a bona fide star in this league right now. He can make big plays. He puts up consistent numbers. I think they signed Darrell Walker today too, right?
Darrell Walker. So that one's funny. I mean, not funny, but buddy I work with at CHCH, he came up to me, huge Ticats fan. He's like, man, Ticats signing Darrell Walker would have been huge 5 years ago. And then you start thinking I think Darrell Walker still got something in the tank. Duke Williams had something in the tank, just a little bit, but I think they're down bodies. They need places in. I haven't been to practice them, to be honest. My full-time job's kept me pretty busy. But you know, I don't know. I'm not ready to write the Ticats off. To your point, they're gonna play in the East semifinal, whether they host it or whether they have to go to Montreal. I would give the edge to the Ticats, despite the fact Montreal has the season series right now. You know, if based on what I've seen the last 5 weeks by both teams, I think Ticats might get the edge in that, but they're going to be they have a chance of being 4 quarters away from the Grey Cup. You add in the fact the Grey Cup is in Hamilton. I don't know what kind of motivation is that. Coach Steinauer will say, "We know where the game is. It's not a factor." But wouldn't you like, just as a Ticat, the fact that the Argos could be in your locker room on November 17th, 2023, popping bottles in your locker room, with the tie, you can tape off that tiger in the middle of the room. You can rope it off however you want. It's still your locker room. That's enough motivation for me if I'm on the freaking Ticats, thinking like, damn, like I don't want because the Argos are gonna get home field advantage. That means they're gonna get the nicer room, which is the Ticats locker room. So yeah, man, I don't know. I think I wouldn't count out the Ticats.
The Stamps still talk about celebrating in the Edmonton locker room in 2018. I still hear stories about it. So,
right?
Yeah,
and there's a lot of former Stamps on this team. So I mean, like, the guys know what it takes. Yeah, I think it's fun. I think we're set up for a really exciting finish to the year. I have to give a shout out to my not my poor Ottawa, but the Ottawa Red Blacks, man. I think about Baines out there. He did a great job covering the team. I think about AJ Jakovic, like those guys who have covered this team. Like, I don't know. Like, the thing about the Ticats, it could be worse. You could be a Red Blacks fan, right? Because like that team is struggling right now. But I'm excited for a final few weeks of the regular season and bring on the playoffs, man. Now that fall's here, it's I'm ready for playoff football.
Beautiful. Louie, I'm going to let you go. I got Sean Lemon here, so thank you so much. I know.
Wow, we didn't even talk about my Bills. Go Bills. Go Bills.
9 sacks. So, Louie, buddy, we'll talk soon. Sean Lemon, buddy, what's happening?
What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Not a whole lot, man. Let's just jump right into it. 99 sacks. How you feeling?
Feeling amazing, man. Just thankful, man. It's like I've talked to you before when I wasn't on the team, and how things change quick, and just control what you can control.
Yeah, I mean, I never had any doubt once you got signed. I know you're productive. When you tell me that you're in football shape, I have known you for long enough to know that means you're in football shape and you're going to be ready to go. But even I can admit, I did not expect you to be you're at what, 7 already this season?
Yeah, I'm at 7 right now. It's just, honestly, it wasn't even about the as crazy as it may sound, I was just worried about getting on a team where I could, come in and have an instant impact. Just being given an opportunity, man. That's all I wanted was opportunity. I know I'd run with it from there.
Yeah. And how is it? I mean, it looks like this Montreal team, and I watched you guys up close, obviously, this week. It looks like you guys, man, there's a brotherhood with that group already. Eh?
Yeah, we're having fun, man. We're having fun. Coach Thorpe's doing an amazing job. Just he understands my skill set. He's letting me line up anywhere. Just creating matchups and just put me in position to go out and do what I do best.
You don't have to answer, but was it nice getting 2 against? I mean, I'm sure you would have loved to have gotten 3 and gone to 100, but against Calgary
poetic justice. Poetic justice. No, it was amazing, man. It was fun. I always love playing in that atmosphere. And this time of year, I was saying that as we was boarding the plane to go to Calgary, I'm like, you guys, you don't understand, this brisk breeze and playing in Calgary in the fall, it's going to feel so refreshing. And I got to go to my treatment lady out there, so my body was feeling nice and right for the game, so I knew it would be a big game. I told my mom that the night before. I'm like, yeah, I feel amazing. I think I'm going to get it tomorrow. And I probably would have gotten if Cody didn't throw the ball away as I'm taking it down to the ground. So
I literally I mean, I'd asked all the guys and they all love you, right? I know you still, despite being on a different team, you and Rose and Wigan and all those guys, like it's those relationships are more than just kind of one when you're on the same team. And they were all laughing. They were like, yeah, he's gonna go for 100. Like we know he wants it. And then I almost laughed when you got the interception on the first drive. And
Yeah.
I was like, look, I mean, the interception's great, but there's a part of me that was like, would he have wanted that to be a sack
Oh, yeah,
instead?
most definitely. In the perfect world, I would have threw the ball back to Jake and sacked him. No, we need to whatever way I can be disruptive and create turnovers for us to get the ball back to score, or for us to get momentum to win games. Like we're going into that, we were on a 4-game losing streak. Like 3 of those games could have went either way, but we needed to win bad. So whatever I can do, I walked into that game knowing whatever I can do to be as disruptive as possible. That's what I'm going to do.
Can I ask, what does 100 mean to you? Because it's like it's a huge milestone that so few players in CFL history have ever achieved. And I've said you're a Hall of Famer, whether you get to 100 or not. But it's gotta. Does this mean something to you? Like, is it a moment where you're able to kind of reflect on
Yeah,
all you've accomplished on your?
it means a lot. Like talking about it now, the job's not done. I have that mentality always, but it means a lot because I understand. Like I've dealt with adversity from when I had 6 sacks. I got cut from Edmonton, and just thinking about all the times I've been cut, just thinking about all the times I've been judged and try to be ran out of this league. So it's just believing in myself when no one else did, just putting that work in, not knowing the unknown of I don't know if I'm going to get a job. I don't know if I'm like coming off an All-Star season, not knowing if you're going to get a job. That sounds crazy, right? But
Yeah.
just believing when no one else would. I feel like anybody else would have gave up. Would have said, you know what, I'm done with this. But I know what I want in life. I know what I want, and I'm just going to always go after it. I'm always going to bet on myself and believe in my ability.
Is it like for you too? Like for me, I look at your career, and I don't. Obviously, the stats are kind of hard to get right now, but I look at your numbers, and like it is the consistency. Like it is year in, year out. You know what you're getting from Shawn Lemon, and that's been true for what, like a decade now. Oh, look who we got. One second, I got one of your guys.
Oh my God! What are you stalking me, bro? What is this?
Good.
What's going on, Flo?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just as I wrote you, obviously it's a huge milestone for Lemon. So, wanted to have you on. You guys have been teammates. Just I kind of want to celebrate it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
get it.
Oh, damn.
What is going
Big
on?
congrats.
What are we about to do? We're about to
Yeah.
do some one-on-ones. It's like the Calgary reunion. The guys that they got rid of.
Hey man, the boys look like they need to hop on the phone and say, please.
We're still employed, buddy.
Yeah. Nah, man, I just wanted to hop on here real quick, man. Cause I know 100. We knocking on the door, 100, baby.
Hey man, got a tough task this week, man. Got the bruisers in
Tough
Ottawa,
to ask
man.
for
We'll see.
who? Ottawa?
Dude.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
Hey, what Ocho say? Child, please.
Man, he said that, not me.
Nah, man. What is how many games y'all boys got left? 4, 5?
Got 4 games left.
Oh yeah. You what? You only got 6 games? You got 7 sacks?
There you go, man. Hey man, I'm just
Hey, listen, I'm just a fan now. I'm just a fan. I'm just
uh,
asking questions.
he's a consultant
I'm
too.
just a fan, man.
Hey, all the O-line
Hey, listen, I'll be watching both of y'all. Listen,
watching
you know what
this.
it is.
Derek Dennis tells me what moves to do. It was telling me what moves to do.
Hey,
Sure,
I actually have though.
I'll take that too.
Hey, listen, if you need advice,
Yo,
and you need a quick text at halftime, like, yo, what you see?
so you're wild.
Hey, bro,
Wow, I
throw out
will.
one of those real quick. You're gonna get
You can
home.
shoot. When Lemon was at the crib, that's what I was doing. Saying, Lemon, what you see?
Yeah, me and Flo have,
Listen, man.
me and
Hey,
Flo
listen, we
have-
all spent a lot of
got
time
some good
together,
work.
man. We all
So
spent a lot of time. I know everybody moves. I know their strengths. I know their weaknesses, man.
that's it is, man. Student of the game, man. And the thing is, a lot of guys don't understand. You get to a certain level and a certain skill set. Everybody is good at this level, so you got to take
Yeah.
that the knowledge that you gain from watching film to find ways to be successful. And I've seen that with Flo a lot this year. like his efficiency. One thing we talked about all offseason was I don't want them pressures. Like I don't want the pressures. We want to cash in.
Hey, that ghost shoulder flow, that ghost shoulder is money for you, man. You need to
Appreciate
break
it.
that out a little more this year. But you
Yeah.
hit that ghost shoulder, that joint go. Especially when you go. Most tackles in the East don't like to bend. So that ghost
Yeah.
shoulder money.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see in that's 5'7". So
Hey, when they gonna rest you, Flo? I see everybody else getting rest but you, man.
I don't want
Don't want to
rest.
give you a week off.
I don't want rest.
but not,
You want rest?
I'm
You
here
better
to
cut
I'm
that
here to
out.
go
focus.
I'm here to go
Hey,
1-0.
listen, right now it's what day is this? It's Wednesday. Flo plays on Friday. You got 4 days. You got 4 days. You got 4 days. Don't let me finish with more sacks than you.
Shoot, you know I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Hey, listen. Hey, it happened. They did that to them last year, man. Don't let it get to the last week and you right on the cusp when they say, "Hey, man, take a break, buddy."
Well, I mean, I know I'm gonna have to sit out one game, so I gotta start
Really?
Yeah,
heating
you
them
gotta
up.
pick it up.
Yeah.
Who got the lead right now? Is it Betts?
Bets
How many he got?
14.
He got 14.
See what
He
happened?
got like
I
12
thought
in
he
the
had
first
12.
6-7 weeks. Like it
See what
was.
happened when Derek didn't get in the league anymore?
Yeah.
Man, hey, that's the truth though. You see what happened when I'm at home, man. I don't know what's going on right now.
We need bone
Edmonton
crushing
got two
bones.
DNs that got 10, right? That's who's in second
But
place. AC and
Yeah.
Serezna.
Yeah, you got Bryce Carter on Ottawa with 11, and then Serezna and AC
Who?
Leonard with 10, and then you got Flo with 9.
Bryce Carter. Who that?
it's the D.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
58?
he's pretty solid. I
Yeah.
like his game.
He's
Yeah,
good.
nah, he's playing
Yeah.
solid. He's playing solid. I watched him one game. He kind of flashed for me.
Yeah, he's good.
So Lem, you in what, like 5th place right now?
But hey, what the
Yeah,
coach?
yeah. I mean, there's only 5 guys
Hey,
with
that's
more.
crazy. Listen. That's very impressive. For you to just come off the couch 7 weeks ago and you're in 5th place already.
Hey man,
I mean,
Hey,
it's
that's
Shawn
impressive,
Lemon. I
man.
told you what we say. Death taxes
Hey,
and
when I
Lemon
say
getting 10
Instagram, hey,
sacks.
listen, you better take your
Guaranteed.
flowers now while you can get it, bro. You're a living legend, man. You keep wanting to be humble. You wasn't that humble last week because I saw you. I saw the extras after the sacks. I saw the talking. Hey, so you wasn't being that humble last week. So I want that same energy the rest of the season.
no man, we gonna turn up, bro. I love playing with a chip.
I want that same energy you was bringing rest of the season because you was hitting them with moves that I only seen when I played you.
Hey man, Carla,
You be sandbagging with the moves, bro. You be holding extra clips, and then you back it
I
out
went
when
to
you
see
need
Carla. I went to see Carla and got some treatment for
it.
2 hours a day before the game, so body was feeling fresh with that Calgary breeze,
Hey, Carla, get you right though.
So,
Damn, man.
All right, guys, this is amazing. Thank you. I just wanted to celebrate Shawn Lemon a little bit. 99 sacks. That's
hey,
crazy.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
I promise you I
we're
wouldn't
gonna
take up
finish
too
the
much of your
season
time.
105.
We gonna get
We're
it.
gonna
Hey, I'm
finish the
calling it
season
now.
105.
Flo up next. Mr. 100, he up
Yeah.
next.
I appreciate it, man. You have a long time of doing it. I'm still in the beginning, so
Hey, what the
I
next
got
highest
I
DN
got a
got
long way
like
to go.
60, right? 55. You can catch that in 3-4 years.
Yeah, I think Willie's next. I think he has like 50 something.
That's crazy.
Well,
Man, that's a big gap.
So you said it, not me.
I mean,
exactly.
That's a big gap, man. Living legend, man. Hey, listen, when they give you a bronze bust, just say shout out to Derek Dennis, all right?
Derek Dennis, hey, thanks for your contributions to this 100.
Nah, listen. First of all, my name is only on one of those sacks. Let's not play that game. My name's only on one of those. Let's not play that
Hey,
game.
we
And
sent
it
out
was a
Christmas
twist.
cards
It
to
had
all
nothing to do with
the
me.
tackles who contribute, all the quarterbacks who contribute to this.
Yeah, listen, my name's on one of them. Out of the 99, my name's on one. I got 99 problems. There's only one.
All right, man. I'm about to go get me a massage, man. I'll talk to y'all.
all right, that was fun. Had to bring a couple of the old Stamps guys back in. Folarin and Orimolade now with the Toronto Argonauts. Man, sitting there, he's got what? I think I said 9 sacks. So yeah, he's right near the top of the league. And then Derek Dennis. Been a guest a couple times on here. Obviously, legend, one of the top offensive linemen. left tackles of the last 10 years in the CFL. So, they both know Lemon. Just wanted to bring them in and, give them the opportunity to give him a little bit of a shout out. So, yeah, we're going to throw to the sponsors and then do a little bit of an outro here. And yeah, let's do that. Guys, what are you doing tonight? I don't know what you're doing tonight. You're probably looking for something. Guys, you got to go check out Mug's Pub. This is probably my favorite pub in the city, 1330 15th Avenue Southwest, right in the Beltline. Honestly, they do it all. I, for years, played trivia on Wednesday nights at Mug's. It's the best trivia night in the city. Other nights, they got music. They got specials every single night. Some of the best food and drink specials in the entire city are at Mug's Pub. You want wine, you want beer, you want cocktails. They got it all. Big fan of their fish and chips. They got some amazing pizza. You want to watch the game? They got TV screens. You want to just have a drink with friends? Perfect spot to do it. You want to have some food? As I said, it's delicious. Mug's Pub. We love having them as a sponsor. We love having them just down the road from us here at our studios. Check out Mug's Pub. They're the best. All right. That was awesome. Really appreciate Derek and Flo stopping in there, saying what's up. I don't know. I love the CFL for stuff like that. Just texted those guys yesterday, said, hey, any chance you want to pop on? Just congratulate the guy on 100. And they said yes. And awesome of them that they did. Truly, that's hilarious. And they're the best guys. I'm sure you can see. I just kind of sat back and smiled because love those guys and figured their dynamic is better than anything I can add. So thank you to Derek. Thank you to Flo. Thank you to Lemon. And thank you to Louie. We got a couple minutes here before we finish up, and we talked a little bit in the intro about the schedule this week, and I don't know, I don't have really much to add there. The Toronto Winnipeg game, slightly less interesting than it should have been. It was very disappointing in the intro. I'm not going to go back into that, but this Raiders Lions game, it looks like Dominic Grimes is back. That one's sort of fun. I'm just so intrigued by these Lions. It feels like they started so strong, maybe had a little bit of a blip there in the middle of the year. And I think I was saying like, oh, I don't have them in my top tier anymore. And at this point, realistically, my top tier is Toronto. And then my tier system's a mess. Let's just be straight up with that. I intended on doing a 3-tier system. There's like 8 tiers in this league, 9 teams, 8 tiers. Don't ask me to explain it. But, I do think that the Lions, look, they're 10-4. They're tied with the Bombers for first in the West. And I don't know, that's where I thought they were at the beginning. It's not where I thought they were through August. And now they're hanging in there. And I think they're going to comfortably beat the Riders. They're at home. This is a Lions team that, again, I suspect both of the teams at the top of the West are going to be sort of 11-4 because I think that the Bombers beat the Argos without Chad Kelly. So we got a nice race. And that sets up next week's game between the Bombers and the Lions. That now has officially become the biggest game of the year. I don't think either of those teams are resting anybody. They want that West final at home. And yeah, either way, not the world's most intriguing game, but both those teams have a whole lot to play for. And let's be honest, the Riders win. And I still think already, I don't really think that there's much of a race here for that third place spot in the West. But I do think that with a Riders win, officially we can declare both the Stamps and Elks done. I already think they're done. I don't want anyone. I don't think. Well, who knows? Calgary beats Hamilton, and you have a head-to-head. You just need the Riders to lose every game, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm really trying to make something intriguing out of a run of games here that I don't think are all that intriguing. Ottawa, Montreal. I do think, as we were talking with Louie, there is a race for second in the East, and it's a good race. Alouettes at 7-7, Ticats at 6-8. So if you're Montreal, who were on a bit of a losing streak, then just came in, had a real nice win over Calgary. That was an impressive victory. I know that people are focused on how bad Calgary was, but Montreal was really good too. So you'd expect them to beat Ottawa, although Ottawa is also coming off a win. For all the talk about how bad Ottawa is, they're 4-10. They have the same record as the Calgary Stampeders, and the Elks are only a game, or they're only worse technically because they played one more game. So who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying who knows a bunch here. And then Calgary, Hamilton. Calgary's got to be better if they're gonna win this game. I've said this enough times. I think that there's too much talent for this Calgary team to be where they are in the standings, but sometimes things just don't go your way. You got a long injury list. It just hasn't come together, and it has been difficult at times to watch and to cover. And I understand why fans are disappointed. I think we all need to remember that it's been 20 years of pretty much uninterrupted success here in Calgary, and people need to maybe chill. But, hey, as I've been saying for like 6 weeks, if you're the Stamps, you need to win this one. This is must win. It's even more must win now, because if you lose, you're in trouble. Beyond that, I'll say that I've started sort of looking at end of season awards. I don't think that there's much intrigue on most outstanding player. I'm either Busby or Ballantyne. I'm going to have one of sort of the Calgary regulars on here and do a bit of a breakdown in the next couple of weeks. And, I think it's important you start talking about these now so that you're watching closely. It gives you something a little bit extra to pay attention to. But look, Chad Kelly is going to be most outstanding player. I don't know how he can't be. I don't actually think that there's a compelling argument for anyone else. He's been absolutely exceptional this year, and all he's done is win, and that's the number one most important thing. I was looking at, 3 Down had their midseason, and they had Matthew Betts as most outstanding defensive player. I think that's probably he's probably still the front runner. I haven't dug in enough. I had Willie Jefferson early in the season, probably, despite not having the sack numbers. I just thought the way that he impacted plays, he had to be there. I mean, there's got to be someone on Toronto too. That defense is sick. Yeah, I mean, Toronto 13. They've played one less game, so the points against doesn't really matter. And I'm not going to sit here and do math. Make you podcast listeners listen to Danny Austin doing math. God help us all. But yeah, I do think Matthew Betts. I wouldn't fault anyone for voting for him. He's definitely going to be most outstanding Canadian. I don't think that there's any argument there. Rookie has to be Dustin Crum, I think. I really like Clark Barnes here in Calgary. And I wish that the CFL, this is not a criticism, don't take it as a criticism, but I wish the CFL just gave us, here are the rookies, here are the eligible rookies much earlier than they do. We got Charleston. Second, I'm going to bring Charleston in. Charleston, you missed Lemon, man. I'm sorry.
Oh!
He had to go for treatment. So,
oh man, I tried to
how
catch
you doing?
him. I'm at work right now, man. Shoot, I would have known. I tried to catch him.
No doubt.
Big,
well, I
big
mean,
shout
I will
out
say,
to my guy Lim Dog, man, waking it to the 100 Club.
He'll appreciate that. I'll send him the clip because I know I know you guys talk anyway, so it's not really like this is you have. I'm sure he's heard from you, but you're the last guy to hit 100, right? Before him.
100 before him,
losing
yeah.
you a little bit here. Yeah. So, I mean, do you welcome him to the club? Is there something you send him?
Man, I knew he was gonna do it though, man. You got to think, Lemon come from a rare breed of pass rushers that just don't exist anymore. So he'll be the last of the Mohegans for a pretty long time to kind of hit those numbers.
Yeah, there's no one else coming up behind him really. Like Willie's not particularly close.
Well, no. That's what I mean. He's like the last of the Mohegans of a string of like really, really good pass rushers, guys who knew how to get to the quarterback, guys who can finish, and that don't come around very often. And I'm just happy that my bloodline is still out there.
That's amazing. All right, well, man. Well, look, I'm gonna let him know. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna text him, but I appreciate you stopping in. I'll let you go unless you got anything you want to add, but I do appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't got nothing to add, man. I just thought about it. I was on my computer just doing like invoices and stuff, and was like, oh man, I forgot the message limit. I was like, let me jump on here real quick and say my piece.
Well,
I think he only got 99 right now, though, right?
Yeah, he got 99. He got 99 in Calgary, and you know how badly he wanted to get it against Calgary after they didn't re-sign him last year.
I know he did. I know he did, but the thing is I guess this is the one thing I will say is I don't think people realize what he's been through this year and what he's accomplished in a short amount of time this year. And with that being said, he probably should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Yep.
Because now look at the performance of what he's doing compared to what everybody else is doing in the league, and even the Defensive Player of the Year from last year, which is pretty much non-existent. Now you just look at what he's still able to do in a short amount of time and the least amount of games. Man, that's a great, great accomplishment right there. And it just goes to show you like what Lemon is really
capable of doing.
Well, no, man, it's why, like, I think that 100 number is such a big deal to me, is because, like, guys like you, like Odell, like him, like, man, you have to do it year after year after year. Like, you know, you don't get slowed down by the injuries. Like, you just have to kind of be out there and doing it. And it's amazing, man. Like 7 sacks in 9 games when the guy wasn't out of training camp with that team, like had to sit out for 2 months and he just hits the ground running. Like that's, I don't think it's getting talked enough, man.
It don't. It's just because they're trying to phase him out. They're trying to phase my guy out, man. But you know what? As long as you perform and you keep your play at a high level, none of that stuff matters because the numbers will show. So they can try to do whatever they want to try to, make him obsolete. But the thing is he's going to continue to perform. He's going to continue to give you what he got. And I know there's a lot of teams out there who feel terrible and very sorry that they missed the opportunity to bring him in earlier. Because there's a lot of teams that I see right now and I watch film and they don't get the amount of, I guess, activity that he's putting out there on the field at defensive end. Other teams aren't getting that from the guys they got right now, which it shows a lot from the scouting department, from management, from everybody that you gotta take part in these older guys that are in the league that you need to keep around.
I mean, I think we've seen that in Calgary that you need those veterans, right? Who carry it forward. And I mean, I think the fact that I think Lemon is 7th in the league in sacks and he missed the first 2 months, like didn't have a team, like,
which is amazing. But the thing is I knew it was going to be a down year in sacks anyways. I said the first 1 to 10 might lead the league in sacks this year. Yeah. So now that I can't remember his name, the Canadian guy out in BC,
Matthew Betts, yeah.
Betts, that's what it is. I was about to say Benoit, but I knew it was Betts. But yeah, Betts, he's had 12 for quite some time now, and I don't even think he's cracked that 12 yet.
I mean, I could probably pull it up. Let me just try to do this. League leaders. He's either at 12 or he might have gotten 1 second. He's at 14 now, but he had 12 in the first month and a half of the year. So it's definitely slowed down. And like even Willie was coming up right behind him, and like Willie hasn't had one in a while. But there you go. Lemon.
Yeah. It's hard to be consistent, man. So he's at 14 now. So yeah, that's good then. Like I said, first 1 to 10 was going to lead the league in sacks. So I don't see no reason why he still wouldn't be leading unless Lemon have a string of 3 sack games, but
But like knowing him, it's not out of the question, right? So, and he's just heating up, man. Like, yeah. Well, Charleston, man, thank you for stopping in, man. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. Cheers. All right. Well, that was a nice surprise. Wasn't expecting that on the outro. Love Charleston Hughes. Wish he'd been able to get in with Derek and Flo and Lemon, but anyways, guys, that's a nice way to go out. Thank you to Mugs Pub. Thank you to Fraser and Vig. Thank you to you, our listeners. Thank you to Charleston, to Flo, to Lemon, to Derek Dennis, to Louie. Thank you to everyone, guys. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Cheers.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.